So yeah, I'm taking way too long on this one, but here we are on the 8th turn of the battle. To catch you up on stuff, the French wing that was present initially took a lot of the hits early on. This other one is swept in. It's pretty much, what the battle is designed for. And now the Protestants are in trouble positionally, but I'm not sure they are victory point wise. They haven't taken that many hits. I'll have to look at what the points totals are. I don't remember mainly what leaders are worth. They're worth their point value. But just singular. So instead of being, well, everything's kind of worth 1 or 2 points. So unlike, the 5 or 10 points in musket and pike. So it balances out. It's just a different point set. Who's in the attack here? We've got a charge here. That's the top thing. This is a march. Everything else is in route. Rally. Same thing. We get in one of those situations, and this could happen in either game. I've rallied everything here. I shifted. I intended to shift. I think I did. My artillery to face up this way. No, I did not shift it. I'm going to shift one that way. This other one, I don't feel like he's going to crest around this way. I feel there's a little bit more danger here, but not much. The guns aren't going to make a damn bit of difference. Anyway, I got one more unit that is out of command, and here's the problem. I can't move into any of these hexes. That would violate my rally. However, I do have to try to get into command. So I go 2 here, 3, 4. I'm allowed to charge here before to try an interception there, because he's in march, which allows that. It's got his leader. He doesn't get it. There's some kind of marker for this. Maybe there's not. There it is. So I would put an interception marker on this if I wanted to. That was 2, 3. He comes down for 4. He's trying to get back into command, even if he's going kind of the opposite direction and everything. All right. So that threw me into rally to do that. That's going to put me on the Protestant. That's this blue wing. It's kind of, you're supposed to actually put these on top of the leaders in this one. I am so used to it in musket and pike that I just do it this way with them all loose off there. So now the blue wing's up. I have some good firepower here. I could actually go into charge. I don't see any reason not to. Oh, some of these over here too. But yeah. So let's try that. I'm going from march to charge, which is a 4, make it a 5 for the leader. And we don't get it. That's fine. There was a unit that needed to do a rally reform, whatever. And we try a continuation there. Again, what is that? 2, 3. That doesn't work either. The continuation numbers, I don't know, they seem like they might be a little lower. I'm not sure. It's a 1, it's a 0 or a 1 in musket and pike for receive charge. In a way, march is somewhere between make ready and receive charge. It's not really either, because it doesn't give as much rallying capacity as receive charge, but it does give the capacity to actually rally, the worst effects, the morale effects or whatever. That's going to put me over to this one. Don't know. I'm not allowed to attack, so it's kind of, I guess I want to rally. Maybe not an actual rally. We could get a make ready, or These cannot both be in command, so that we're split here. For what that matters. But that would get us to a make ready then, or march is what it's called here. So rally to march is 3-4. We don't get it, so we stay in rally. That's even better, perhaps. I had to move the leader over. I could have left him here and gotten an automatic success here. I didn't get a success because of that. But I really don't want this to start swiveling this way or doing something weird trying to... Oh, actually, no, that wouldn't be bad. All right, we could do this. We could go here. This is my unit. It's okay. I thought something horrible was going to happen, but it's not. Because now I can move here. That possibly triggers... No, it's not a 4-hex range. Here's the problem. 1, 2, that doesn't cause him any problems. But now we get the raiders at... firing in the back is useful to someone. Let me put this here. He's got to try to get in range. That's the problem. Firing in the back is a bonus. But the building is a -2, so we're looking at 6s, 2 shots. Neither one hits. You have to roll higher than the to-hit number. So that was 2, 3, 4, and now we're out of movement. And I can't charge through the buildings and whatnot. Since this was in rally, that's over. And we're up here on Coligny. Okay. And that'll be the last thing. And I don't know what that means. Coligny couldn't get out of rally. I turned my cannons, though. Again, should have done this before, probably. I don't know. I just forget about them when they get left behind like that. And that's the end of the turn. When units get stuck in rally, it makes the turns go quicker because nobody, I could try to withdraw, but I don't have backstep like I thought I did in Musket and Pike because of this accursed Civil War. My option would be to go like 2, 3, and I can't go forward. I can't turn back around. So this is as good as it gets. These guys I arranged a little bit. I don't think I moved him. I don't know. Yeah. Entering into turn 9, only one command is not in rally, and that is this one here. Ranging down here for the Protestants. Do I want charge? I think so. I can hit here on the flank. I can levy some fire against this. Yeah, I think so. In a number of charges, as well as a bunch of fire combat that did nothing in either direction. Of hits did not do much of what I wanted. I want to get out of charge now so that I can try to recover some of the units that are attacking something like this, So we want to go... I mean, rally is not bad. Most of it's in command. Okay, let's drop all the way to rally, I guess. And we get it. Oh, wait. Hold on. I forgot to roll my my reactivation. That's the big one. I did not get that, so I actually have to stop there. If I'd done the dice in the right order, it would have been fine, but I would have stayed in charge. But whatever. This is what I decided as I was going. And that's going to put me over to one of the 2 French commands. Again, I don't know which one I want to do first. This one's pretty much taken the damage it's going to take. So this one might make the most sense, except there's not much I can do there with that. Although I don't know that that's going to get any better. I gotta remember this artillery. He's actually got a line of sight. Put that up there. That's not part of this unit. I would have repaired it if it was. Yeah, I don't know. I'm torn. I have a lot to rally. I chose to do this one because if this gets hit, it'll have a chance to rally then. I moved into March. This is the other command, so I don't get to get help there. I did manage to get that fixed, but yeah, not a lot overall. And that puts me over here. These guys are in rally. They definitely do not wish to remain that way, but do they want to go all the way over to charge? Probably doesn't make much difference. No, I want to go into March because I don't want to, I want the better chance of it, right? So that's a 3, 4, 5. I don't get it. I'm in rally again. Well, crap. Remember to fire my artillery for what it's worth. I mean, there's no grazing fire or anything. It's just... yes, it can have effects, but the effects are not as impressive, which is fine. It's an earlier period. Of course, rally wasn't able to get out of it, and so I stay where I am. I think that puts me to the last unit. Just making sure, which is this command here. I don't know what the fuck to do. I mean, I don't know. Let me look up defensive fire for artillery because I forgot about what that is, but it's not the same as it is in the musket and pike. Oh, we can fire it anywhere in its range, but like, yeah. So if I come charging towards this, I will end up getting a shot, a heavy shot on me. If I don't come charging, like what happens if I charge is what I have to kind of consider. And I mean, I could hit these infantry here, some of which are not very good, but I have to clear that cav out of the way, and I've got no way to do that. The cav provides a screen which the infantry cannot push out of the way, which is unbelievable, right? If infantry is marching forward, it should scare the cav out or be able to attack it. The advantage the cav has is not like to provide some kind of roadblock. And musket and pike handles this fine. The cav is able to withdraw. You can bring it back into play if you want to do the carousel or whatever. It's got tons of movement. But here, we don't really. Anyway, I'm pretty sure I don't want to be in rally. I'm going to be able to get a couple of units. So let's try for the march. And I think we get it. Artillery fired, and look, that's the only way that you can tell is that there's a little cloud over it now, as opposed to like that. I mean, it's just it fired a reaction fire, and that was its second fire, so it gets flipped over and loses its counters, whatever. We also have this cav here managed to destroy some gendarmes that were trying to get back into command control. But other than that, there's basically nothing that happens. This fucking roadblock of cav is preventing me from advancing, which is fine because, wait, I'm under charge. I had to advance. Did I? I think I just flipped this because I was going. The counter's not having an obvious unknown back to them or whatever. That's why that happened. So now I get a continuation attempt at least. We did some rallying and whatnot. Oh, that looks like it works. And now, I mean, do I want to go into charge? Yeah, I can knock out this gun. That'll be worth something. And now we succeed, and this won't be a charge on the other side. Should be all the commanders. We got an attack on the artillery, which we succeed in at no loss. And take that out of the play. Can't hit the cav. I couldn't get this other cav into play to hit them. Not sure why. I think I could have slipped in this way. I don't know. Absolutely uncertain. Can't hit any of this. So we move to turn 10. At least this thing's almost over. This is one of the few times where, kind of like I felt with Summer Storm, right? I feel like I'm going through too much. It's too clunky. It's too unpleasant to play. That much as I'm very interested in the battles that this is going to present, and the time period and everything, and it's so similar, it should play somewhat similarly. But remember, Musket and Pike was already stretching what I think are the limits of how sort of complex the play of a game can be in terms of handling all the I don't know the intricacies involved in maneuvering your units and everything. It's at about that limit. I feel like Labatt and Battles of the Age of Reason went over the line for me. And I feel like with Musket and Pike at the limit, and this is causing a little bit more trouble, that it also is just pushed just over that line where I don't want to play it. I will force my way through these next two battles, but man, it's just not as smooth. It's not as smooth. And it's also not giving me reasonable results. The fact that this cav can hold my infantry up and prevent it from forcing me back, it's not as accurate, and it's clunkier. It's got some points that I kind of liked, but for the most part, yeah, it's just, it shows no advantages. And I really wish that all these games that are based on, and I'm told that what this was based on was significantly different, that other games in the Avec, Infini, Regret are different from this significantly. It just, it's like, it feels like Ben Hull put together kind of a prototype to Musket and Pike. It got released, and then people are trying to make that work. And it just, the main line is just so much better, even with the 6.0 rules and, how cluttered they've gotten, right? For a few hours, I don't know how many, a couple at least. And now it's, past 70, nice and foggy day. I don't know if we've had one like this year yet. I mean, and on the other end of the summer we did, but I don't think we've had one. I don't know. It's hard to tell. And we're starting a new turn. We got a charge over here, charge over here. It's kind of confusing because this is French. They're all French. This is royalist, Catholic. This is Protestant. I mean, yes, they are royalist right now, but I don't know. Are they? Montmorency? Yeah, definitely, I think at this point. There are points where the Catholic League is actually fighting against the French royals, or at least, I don't know if they're actually directly fighting battles. I don't recall that. But they're definitely maneuvering throughout much of the time in ways that the Royals are trying to create a compromise situation. But quite often, the Royals have no army. So, two different charges. This is this guy. This is this St. Andre or whatever. They're equal. So, I'll roll odds for the Protestants because they picked up the white die. So, we go to the blues. I mean, I don't mind this charge at all. In fact, I think it's what I want. Because it lets me hit this, and I wouldn't be able to otherwise. And I don't see anything in this command that needs rallying. And maybe the rules are just as bad in Musket and Pike. And I've just, like, absorbed certain workarounds. This unit here, if I want to move this, I have to shift, I have to swing here and then march forward. Okay. But if I do that, I take the leader with me. Because the leader can never be off the counter, is how I've been playing this. That may be strictly a reading that works for Musket and Pike as well. And I may have just worked a workaround on it because I couldn't cope. Yeah. It's a little... so I've been cheating in Musket and Pike. No big surprise there, allowing me to jump into empty hexes. But there is something here. A unit stacked with its WC may not intentionally be moved out of the stack that would leave the WC alone in the hex unless the WC is still able to take his action for that step. So it would get rid of this annoyance. I had thought there was a stacking requirement. But there is... I'm wondering what the fuck this is. You can move on. It must remain with the unit with which you stack advances. Huh. Now I'm confused because I'm not seeing it here. Good Lord. I know it's here. Huh. I don't know. I've got to find this. Because there may not be any requirement that I'm stacked at all in this one now. I'm not seeing it. But I know I did. Because it's been infuriating me, right? But maybe I imagined it or something. Really weird. We have rules for movement of commanders, which are handled here under the command rules, and they tell me a number of different things. But it's all the way over here under game counters, where it talks about commanders. Wing commander must always be stacked with a unit of his wing. If he moves alone, he must end his movement in a hex containing another unit, which is different. But you know what? I'm going to play with the rules from Musket and Pike. Ones that I've actually kind of semi-intentionally, I think, loosened in the sense of, oh God, I need my leader to be here. So I've left leaders on their own because there are rules for leaders who are alone in Musket and Pike, but you can never intentionally do it. But because there are rules for it, I figured I could get, I could do it. Because otherwise I have to chase every fucking possible rule down when looking something up. Yeah. Okay. So I am going to allow my units to leave a leader behind, and then the leader moves afterwards. The complex part of this, I've got all these have attacked, have done something. I could either I can't pass with these two because I've already moved them. I can say I activated this guy. I got to move this into place over here to command these. Otherwise, they'll try to leave there. That's standard for Musket and Pike. I did advance. So this advance here, there was a fair amount of firepower exchange. This advance, I took hits, so I didn't fire even though I had movement points to do so. And I noticed I did have a unit that was already in disordered state or whatever, the first level of pain. And so now we go to melee. I got my charge coming in here, and I'm going to hit these weaker M-class units. I didn't really want to hit these L's. They're fairly potent. I've got, what is it, an actual T. I don't know how good they are. So a T versus an M, it's very good. Those are the Tercio style, but they actually have relatively low morale. So unlike F, the French, I guess that's feudal. Way too much firepower. Yeah, I don't know what the hell they are. They're like really good firepower units. You know, I don't know. We managed to smash a pair of these. These are M's. They don't have any special rules for when they're destroyed. We smashed one in here. He was forced into the no retreat rule as he fell back. And then the other one we hit from the flank and killed Caligny with that. And we got his replacement. That means this command is not going to get to go. And now we need to jump into March because we have a lot of units that were involved in combat. And that's a 2 only. I could go to rally. Fuck, I think I want to go to rally. Yeah. It's easier to get to, and it's actually more effective. Of course, it means I have to work my way out of rally, but that's okay. Oh, 5, 6. And we succeed. Yay. As we're successful. This one generated some fire, which did not hurt us. And he flips over. And yeah, this is easier this way. No. Fuck. I'm sorry. Yeah, he flips over. Not that. And we go to the other charge, which is this guy way back here. And again, yeah, there's some use to having him trail around with the commander, but I don't want a lot of markers on the board, on units. But also moving them from where their command sort of centers doesn't really work for me. Okay. What do we got here? We got a move order here on, these are the blue guys, I'm guessing. On the blue guys, that'll allow me to rally this, but not everything. I do have a couple of gendarmes here who could fight. I don't really see a reason not to go into rally, unless I was looking at a continuation here. So we're going from March to an attempt at rally. We may or may not get it. No, from charge to an attempt at rally. We don't get it, so we stay in charge, which means we fail to rally. Basically, because we're in contact across the board with all of our units, so we can't disengage in any way. Alrighty. Not exactly, because the out-of-command units can. Fuck. Wow. Really don't like this. So I don't know. This is the guy I kind of don't mind getting out of there, but he's not really doing any harm. I guess I'll let these guys get out of there, but I hate it. I really hate it. Because, yeah, they had a shot at knocking this thing out. I can leave them in place. They've basically got nowhere they could flee to. I don't know, maybe around this way? Yeah, I guess so. All right. Nothing happens except for those two did break away, and now they'll try to slip around behind. What the hell is going on with this unit? Yeah, that's actually... So if this guy was here, the slip around made sense, but he was kind of bumped there. I think he's here. I don't know. I think I could have stayed in there and continued firing. Let's do that. I didn't take any hits from this shit. Let's just fire in there. The wrong word. We're going to be meleeing there. So that's going to be a G hitting an F, which gives me a -1 to begin with. Morale cancels that out. And then one extra unit. I don't know which one I'm going to pick. But one extra unit and one flank attack gets me a total of +2, which seems worth doing. -1, +1 total. Still seems worth it, and it was. Didn't get a continuation. That leaves only Montmorency left, because there was Coligny was killed. He is under march. I don't know how much stuff he needs to rally. This piece definitely does. Very badly. Looks like this one. I don't know. Performed automatic rallies on 2 of his units. That's all he could really do. Nothing else looked of value. So now I'll move the turn marker forward. We will get this new replacement here. Porcelain. No, Porcian. Something like that. Who will come on over here, and everybody flips over. 2 more turns left. Not too bad. And honestly, if I forget as many rolls as I do in Musket and Pike, I think this system becomes a lot easier. I think what's better about Musket and Pike for me is that I forget or just take my own, you know. Yeah, I simplify Musket and Pike's rules to fit my own tastes, you know, and then end up reading something, like not intentionally or anything, but then I end up finding something and I'm like, oh, fuck, is that right? And even now using this, I'm still finding things that after playing through 2 boxes, I was fucking up. Some of it because all the different editions, changing the rules as you go. On Tuesday, it's after 1 p.m. I probably ought to stay awake, but I'm thinking about going back to sleep. It's cold, it's pretty out. I know I have to be up, you know, another nap. I had a really funky dream. I put it on what I could remember on Facebook. Anyway, what do we got? We got only one command in charge. That's, I don't know where he's gone. This guy. Who might be down here, yeah, as far as that. Now, he's got, actually looks like he is in command at this point. This guy isn't. Oh, no, none of these are. Okay. I don't think I can trace through a unit. Okay. Definitely have some stuff that needs to recover back here. Recoveries, I went for rally, got it, but of course that means no continuation, and that puts me to Montmorency. March recovers the 1 unit that is why he stayed there, puts himself into command and whatnot, but that's the end of him, and that means we're over on Porcian, who is in rally, but probably doesn't want to be there. Might be able to smack this from behind something. Stays in rally, unfortunately. Tried to move it into March, but it's still close to 50-50. Porcian. Not Montmorency. That means I have 1 command left, and that is this red thing here. which again, like, I feel like things are, and maybe it's because things feel very static in this game. And maybe it's because I cut corners in in Musket and Pike. It may be that those battles do end up just as static as these do. The other thing is the Musket and Pike tend to have cav wings, which can resolve the battle. The cav here is not as powerful by any means. Although if it can accumulate in numbers, the way the melee works in this, there's no limit to how big a bonus you can get. So you can just like rack a lot of units in there and get it, above +4 even. Stuck in rally, it feels like it's harder to change commands, which means, yeah, you get your guys into rally and maybe they don't get out of it. But rally is the only option. You don't have the received charge. So this is second to last, or this is last turn. Honestly, I think I'll just play this out and then take a nap if I want to. The unit that's not in rally is this guy here, Montmorency. And I think he wants to stay in March, so no problem there. Continuation, so that's the end of him. That puts me up on one of these two in rally. Don't know which one to go first with. Both are affected. This red command is over here, but it's also facing these. Not terribly worried about these, but the green command over here is what just went. So that's not going to affect me again. So I'm not going to see a push against there, for example. Figure out the odds, because I'm not going to do shit if I'm just in March. If I go from rally to March, that's a 40%. And then I need a 20% on the charge. So that brings me to an 8%. And a 30% chance of reacting. So I think I'm best trying to go right into charge here. Which I get. How about that? Our charge involves a massive attacks, but we get attacked here, unfortunately, as well. That attack was not a wise one, I think. We did not get great results off of it. But we get a continuation check for forcing. He's in charge, so he actually has a reasonable chance. He gets it. Now here's the thing. Under any normal circumstances, I would try to recover these units. I think I want to anyway. Okay. So I'm trying to go from charge to march. And I get there. And I'm sure it's not the right thing on the back. Just never is. Whatever I'm doing. Okay, that'll give me a chance to recuperate my units against any possible counterattacks. And all my attacks are pretty much actually correctly lined up. Essentially no effect. We got to rally some things. We got a hit on this. But, we're not breaking the enemy and destroying them or anything. And we lost a piece with our command, or our activation. So we came out behind on that. That puts it over on St. Andre here. Don't know what he wants to try to do. These guys are out of command, so they're a problem. Maybe I can get them back in command, but well, I could run the leader over. Rally doesn't seem horrible given my circumstances. Except that's it. but I don't know what else to do. Like I'm not gonna gain any ground off them here. Nothing dramatic happens in an individual like couple activations right now. Like rallying this, I don't want to do it because I might get shot. I can try to rally that, but you know. This wing, I basically didn't even try to do anything. That's all the Royalist wings. I have this thing left and then we're done. Essentially nothing happens. I mean, this last unit stayed in rally, right? Yeah, stayed in rally because really the only thing I wanted to do was fire at these, but I'm not going to get the kind of results that'll change the score in the game. The only thing I did was I rallied this unit, which I should not have done because it gave this a shot. He got a lucky shot, only hits on a 9 because it's cav there. Of course, it would have taken 2 9s. It would be a 1% chance to kill the leader. And now I suppose I score this out. The units are determined by simply their morale level. Artillery doesn't count as anything extra. Double units count twice, so the Protestants have lost. I'll give you the numbers. It's relatively easy. We've got columns of 2 and columns of 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16, 17, 18, 19. Real close. I thought it was a little further apart than that. And now the only thing I really have to do in terms of cleanup and whatnot is find the couple of units, commanders and whatever that are used in other battles, keep them out, bag the rest, because they ain't coming back, and say, okay, that was fun. Yes, this system felt a lot clunkier to me. I think it would feel just as clunky to approach musket and pike, you know, without being used to it. I had a lot of excitement back when I first did that. Yes, it took me a little bit of effort when I came back to it, but I also cut a lot of corners, which ended up, much as later when I was playing my earlier series of it, ended up with me kind of like changing the rules both inadvertently, but also coming up with simpler ways of handling stuff and things. I may be making those musket and pike battles a little too fluid. I've got a little bit of worry about that, especially when I've got things like you can back up your units from this accursed civil war. That really allowed for a lot, and it felt weird anyway. It's like, well, put the unit in reverse and then slam back in. Yeah. On the other hand, it was kind of fun. Felt kind of like a Men of Iron type scenario when I played musket and pike. I like that kind of fluidity and that kind of, you know, excitement and everything, but it isn't as realistic, to be honest. It really isn't. These formations had trouble moving in any way, and certainly they couldn't just backstep very easily. I feel like this system, though, has a little bit more handcuffing with the only 2 activations instead of 3. I'm not going to get the really big push. 3 activations is really unlikely without a great leader. But, yeah. And overall, I would say I would much prefer if it had all been the same system or had been close enough to the same system that I could use the same roles, but the numbers, the way they work, they're different. So musket and pike strength points don't really, like, all units fire exactly the same in musket and pike. Here, their firepower value is a difference. So like these readers are really good firing, these guys are not. If you look at musket and pike, the readers are really not great firing. they're not going to do a lot of damage to you. But, you know, a big integrated pike musket unit, as long as it's not got any damage on it, it's going to do the same kind of fire. So some ways, I feel like this is actually giving some more detail because of the amount of units that are distinguished and whatnot, the firepower values and everything. And I kind of like that. I gotta say, like, there's something that feels wrong with the sameness of all the firepower, but it may be by the era of 30 Years' War, all the units are largely the same. Whereas you have a lot more scrambling around to find what that correct mix is. And in scenarios where the units don't work quite the same, maybe they'll have a penalty for a particular firing for a unit or whatever. But this is more exciting. It reminds me more of the GBOH. There's, you know, a relatively large number of different types of units to look up here. Yeah, it's a little bit harder. The fire numbers really differentiate the units. But the Cav should be able to be chased away by the infantry. That's one that just does not exist in this. And you'd have to kind of pick and choose and change what you could probably come up with some sort of fusion between the two games. Anyway, this is stuff that belongs more in like a review section, and I still got a couple of battles to go. There's 2 more battles on the other side of this sheet of paper. And yeah, I will play them out. But right now, we're going to load this up. We're going to get some sleep. I would like to say it was exciting, but I feel like I was too engrossed in the technical concerns to really make this one exciting.